Hello guys and welcome to another edition of Rage Against the Dice. We're continuing on with our bold action, which I'm assuming by this stage has actually been uploaded, but with me you can never tell. We've done a couple of the unboxings of some of the starter sets now, and today we're looking at the Gentleman's War, which, if I take it over to Sparks, who is here with me, I believe this is new.
Yes.
That is good. New is good. So by the time this goes up, it'll have probably been out about 3 years. But when we did the unboxing, just to let you know, it was fairly new. I think it had just come out this week.
It literally arrived today at Sparks.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure when I went to look at it originally when Sparks was talking about it, it was still up for pre-order. So it's fairly new. As you guys know, we love Warlord games for the most part. We don't speak of their Doctor Who games. Sorry, Warlord, but that's on you. But yeah, we love them. Obviously, we've been covering 2000 AD a lot. We're covering bolt action. We each now have an army, myself with my Germans, Sparks with his Americans, and then Vince with his Italians, who you will only see the back of, really. And this is a new starter set that Sparks and I are going to be starting around January time, after Christmas.
Yeah, makes sense. New year, new army.
New year, new army.
We already have other stuff to pin.
So much stuff. But yes, so we're going to take a look at it today. Now this is, as I said, two-player starter set. It comes with British and Germans, but you can...
8th Army in Africa Co.
Yes. Because I'm pondering making the British types Canadians, because Canadians are awesome. And they say a boot a lot. But this also gives you your rulebook, your pin markers, and your dice and ordered tokens. Well, ordered dice. Yeah. So essentially, much like the other one we did, was it the Gentleman's War?
Band of Brothers.
No, Band of Brothers. This is the Gentleman's War. Sorry. Yep, it's in big letters right there. Yeah, much like the Band of Brothers ones, it comes with the same kind of stuff, so your templates and things like that. You also, with this one, however, get vehicle damage markers, which you didn't with the other one, so that's pretty cool.
That seems to be a fairly new thing for Warlord, though.
It does, it does. I remember I got them in one of my sets. Lots of sets. So, yeah.
Getting them in every set I've got recently.
You got so many. Yeah. I can't touch them because they feel weird in my handies. I think we're going to open this box, though, now. So I've purposely started filming again now because Vince is mid-crunch and he's been very polite and not crunching. So we're going to drag this out as long as we can until we hear Vince crunch. So as you can see, you get the small version of the rulebook. It looks identical to the version I've got and the version Sparks has got, all of which came from separate things. So I'm guessing it's just a standard.
It is. Standard 2nd edition rulebook. Everything in there, in full colour, just in little A5 size.
It's fantastic. You should also pick up the PDF version.
You're the only one that doesn't have one.
Yeah, it's a present for Vincent there.
It'll cost you $3.50 in the soul of your ancestors. I should never have the first one.
You might steal one.
And that's not his first one, it's someone else's.
Vince could get really, 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 really drunk.
But sides could advance.
Indeed. So this is Gentleman's War starter booklet. Another one came in the Band of Brothers. We looked at it very, very briefly. Gives you a little bit of history, if it's anything like the other one anyway.
Sorry, just to interject. Every time you say a Gentleman's War, I just want to say Gentleman's Relish.
Don't know.
I'm not. I'm just saying I want to.
I like your style. So yeah, so you get the assembly, well, the very basics of an assemble your forces for the British 8th. And then, of course, as I said, we've got the Africa Corps here. Now, obviously, these are earlier war, but you can use them late war. Certain things.
Both the armor cars you definitely can, because the 222 comes with the 223 options to make it a radio car, and the Humber is either Mark II or Mark IV.
Yep, and when doing research for late war German armies, I found that there was a guy on Instagram, I genuinely cannot remember his name, but if I find him again on Instagram, I'll post it in the description below. But he'd managed to mix the Germans from this as well as some of the winter ones all together. And by painting them the same, he tied them all in. He just didn't put any of the guys with goggles and bandanas around their faces.
I mean, they could have worked on the Winter War ones because of, snowstorms.
True. But yeah, it looked absolutely fantastic. So really where I'm going with this is, although it is early war, you can use it throughout your periods of history as long as you paint them correctly and as long as the equipment's right. But yeah, and then you get a few little scenarios teaching you how to play the game, presumably. Now, you guys know that I'm going to promise that we'll film these and then we'll move on to another project and it'll never get done. So, in keeping with tradition, we're going to film going through each of the scenarios. Never call me out on it, because I will just ignore the comment. I suck. We plan to do it, and then another game comes out, and we get distracted. It's not our fault.
We just play 4 games because we already know how to play.
That's it. That is one of the main problems, actually. The other problem is having the time to actually do filming of games, because it adds an extra... that's what people don't realise. It adds about an extra 2 hours to your game, with having to stop and do bits part way between like rounds and stuff. Rules consultations. It also takes you out of the game as well, so you'll be like, oh, I've got this really good plan, and you'll be like, oh, we need to stop now from moving the camera, and then you're like, what was I going to do again? Sparks doesn't, because he's got an encyclopedic knowledge of how to beat us, but the rest of us bumbling through, it affects us.
You say that like I have plans that I follow.
Indeed.
Because I just hope.
So here we have building instructions. Now, I don't know if these plastics, and you might be able to tell me better, Sparks, with the vehicles, whether they are actual Warlord plastics, as my half-track was, or whether they are one of the many companies that Warlord have integrated into their fold.
I believe since this is the first place that you can get the 2 plastic armoured cars, they are Warlord.
Cool. If so, very much excited to build.
The plastics are not old, but they're not new, so it could be anything.
Awesome. That's fair. But yeah, so you get the build instructions here, and they are much more detailed than the build instructions that I got for my German vehicles, which again makes me think they are Warlord.
There's also a lot more extra little bits to go on the armoured cars and the 2 marks to build, whereas most of the other vehicles just swap the barrel.
Yes. So here you can see what you would buy next, and it shows you some of the sneaky little items that it wants Sparks and I to purchaserize, and we're suckers for marketing, so I'm going to close this before we start going online. So you get this in all the 2-player starter sets, and it's like a how to play sheet. Because of the really cool cases that we found on Etsy, which I will link below because they're absolutely beautiful, these fit perfectly on top of them. So
they don't fit perfectly.
It looked perfect to me.
Well, no, because you're missing half of this. And there.
Okay, the actual rules bit fits perfectly. And that's the main thing. I'll show you guys once we get around to that stage. Not in this video, in another video, so you'll have to actually come back.
What is cool, though, is there's a ruler.
Yes, there is.
There's actually 2.
Ooh, 2.
One at the top, one at the bottom. So they don't give you whippy plastic ones like Games Workshop do, which is sad because I do enjoy fighting with them. But for safety purposes, I think these are much better. Plus the fact that it's cards, so you could scan it and reprint them out. And suddenly, if you've got a games club that all want to play bold action, you've got enough rulers. Or just use tape measures like a normal human. But the point is, you get them, and they're awesome. Next thing you get is basic dice and order dice. Now, the basic dice themselves, they're slightly smaller than your standard size D6. Your mileage will vary on those.
Pretty standard for Warlord games, though.
Yes, they are, because they're the same ones that come in 2000 AD games, and that new fantasy one that I can't remember what it's called now. Yeah, that. They come with the same size dice. And then you get your order dice.
They also fit into some of the tokens you'll see later on.
Yes, they do. And that is also very cool. So yeah, with the order dice, as you will know, if by now we filmed any how to plays, and if you're not, that is how you draw your units. I think I did talk about that in one of the unboxing videos. So you get the dice. And they are the same ones that come in the other starter sets color-wise. So if you bought a previous one, they will match. You get transfers. Now, last time you only got German transfers, no Americans in the Band of Brothers set, much to Sparks' dismay. But this time, what do we get?
Both.
You get both on this.
Yeah, it looks to be, because you've got Desert Rat symbols down here at least. And these are Africa core. And these are German and probably for both license plates.
Fair play. Where everybody's equally covered. I guess you don't actually get any vehicles for the Americans in the Band of Brothers one. Maybe that's why. But yeah, you get...
But the British have... the American Paras have their own transfer sheet, the Screaming Eagles ones on, because I got it in my starter set.
Ooh,
just not the two-player one.
Yes. So you also get little quick guide cards.
Which seemed to be a fairly new Warlord thing as well, because my old Marine stuff didn't come with them.
Whereas all my stuff for the Germans has. in both sets, the Band of Brothers and the here German Grenadier start set. So
I have so many Hellcat cards now.
yes, so yeah, you get little cards.
So one each for the 2 different marks of German armoured car you could build, and one for the Humber.
So good if you're just getting into the game and you don't know the rules. Not that the rules are very difficult for this game at all. You get the rather fantastic, but rather irritating to read while playing, pin markers. They pop out, they clip into there, and then they turn. As you can very, very just see. They've got numbers on. See each pin marker, you turn out by 1. I said it's really difficult to see whilst playing, but they are awesome, and it keeps your table less cluttered.
I'm just going to spray and dry brush the base, and then clip them together.
Kids are going to spray and dry brush the base. That's me told. Then you get blast marker. No, I can touch them now. Vehicle damage markers. Vince gets a set. Sparks gets another set, and I don't want them. I genuinely don't want them. So here we are. We're coming on to the sprues themselves. What I'm not going to do in this video is show you after one of them all built, because that would then require us to sit and build them all night. And as I said, it's going to be a January project. So what I'm going to do instead, in a very cheeky style, is I'm going to go on Warlord's website. I'm going to steal some pictures. I'm going to put them on the video, and then I'm going to put a little thing at the bottom saying pictures from Warlord to cover me, because theft's okay if you give them credit. But at some point, obviously, you will see them on the table, because we will potentially one day maybe film a game of it. I think I give enough disclaimers on that one, but we're going to look at the sprues now. I know sprues aren't the most exciting thing, so we're just going to, if there's the same sprue multiple times, which no doubt there will be, we will just look at one on them. What we're going to do, though, is a little pause while we get out some craft knives, because there is some baggies. So this is the first of the vehicles. Which one is this, Sparks?
This looks like a 222, because it's very angular.
So yeah, so this is 222 because it's very angular.
Just checking. Yeah, grenade mesh. It's
Perfect.
222.
And this comes on 2 sprues, as you can see. There's not a lot of parts to it, but there are extra parts. So much like some of the other vehicles I've received, and I don't know the ones you've built, we're probably the same, but you get little extras to put on the outsides of them. They're also really good for bases and things like that.
The Greyhound did. The Hellcat only came with a few extra bags.
My half track came with some bags. It came with some entrenching tools. And
most of them are already sculpted on.
To yours, yeah. And then it also came with some like jerry cans. And I can see jerry cans on there. So yeah, as you can see, it's going to go together fairly easy. I'm not going to say that all the vehicles in the Warlord range do, or in the Bolt Action range do, but this looks fairly simple. It hasn't got a lot to it compared to some of the others. We're going to pause now while we get out the next one, and we'll do the same while we put the sprue out. So here we have our second vehicle. Now this does look like it's Warlord. It even has the Warlord website on the sprue. That's always a good indication. Sparks, do you want to talk us through what vehicle this is?
It's a Humber armor car.
There you go.
Mark 1 and Mark 2. It just depends on which.
And you get the card to build both, don't you?
Well, it's the same card. It's just whether it has an autocannon or a light anti-tank gun.
There you go. That's already more than I know. Yeah, so again, it's not many parts, big parts as well, so it's going to go together fairly nicely, I would assume. And as I said, because it's a Warlord one, it's probably going to have a bit better quality to it. So yeah, we'll go along and we'll look at the sprues now. As I said, you do get the same sprues multiple times.
There's 8 infantry sprues in here, 4 for each army in the Bolt-like tentacle.
Yes. So what we'll do is we're just going to obviously look at one of each. There's no point showing you the same sprue multiple times. We'll be back in a second with said sprues. So here we go. I'm going to zoom in a little bit so you guys can get a better view of it. Which sprue are we looking at here?
This is your British 8th army.
So this is the British 8th, which is what I'm going to be using because I play as the filthy bad guys. In our late war, so early war, I thought I would switch it up. You can't play as too much German. You start to get looked at funny in public. So,
I mean, you get looked at funny in public anyway.
I know, but that's because I'm short and fat. That's different. That's a different kind of look. That's pity, not scorn. So yeah, so I'm guessing it's the standard Warlord frame of, was it 5 to 6 models on a sprue? Usually
6 guys.
and then you get the same sprue over and over again. Now, you can clearly see from the many, many rows of heads that you have a lot of build options on this, because they don't have to be built up as the British, do they?
Well, British and Commonwealth.
Yes.
But
they come in the same book, don't they? So
yeah. And the uniforms are very similar to some of the later war stuff, like the Burma campaign. So you've got your standard pot helms for British. You've also got Scottish tam o' shanters.
Yeah,
You've got Punjab heads and Sikh turbans.
Perfect. If you wanted to build a mixture of those, you could, as long as they were in different squads.
Theoretically, yeah.
Yeah,
I think so. I don't know. Being an Englishman, I don't know very much about the British Army.
That's weird, actually. Collectively, we are all English, and we know very little about the British during World War II.
Yeah, they tend not to cover that in schools because of a lot of the things that we did.
Hey, the things we did were sometimes stupid.
There's also most of my World War II knowledge comes from films, and I think the only two I can think of is A Bridge Too Far, and I can't even remember.
Bridge Too Far is very good, though. If you haven't seen it, definitely check it out. But yeah, I didn't know a great deal about World War II until I started researching for my German army. I knew the generic stuff they teach you in schools and what I'd seen on movies. Because I've only just started the British, I haven't really done my research on them yet. And as I just told you, I don't really need to start until mid-December. But yeah, so you do get a lot of head choices. When we get closer to the time, I might even do a build video on one of the sprues, and I'll talk through what I've chosen and why. Sparks is going to build his straight away because we're about to play a game, Vince and I, and Sparks will otherwise just heckle us. So
we need to keep his tiny little raccoon hands busy.
Otherwise, he'll be like telling us how to defeat each other. Well, he'll be mainly telling you the best way to run away. That seems fair. But yeah, so weapons option wise on this sprue, what do you get, Sparks?
Mostly rifles. There's a couple of brand guns. You've got an officer's pistol here to go with his, I think this is the arm that has the whistle. You have your boy's anti-tank rifle.
Yep.
Ooh, this one actually comes with sandbags on the sprue as well.
I'll just throw away all the sandbags we just spent an obscene amount of money on.
There's a couple of Thompsons as well.
There's actually only a little amount of money.
And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 6, yeah.
Yep. And then
so enough rifles to give everyone rifles, and then weapon options as well.
Yes. And then, as with all of the Warlord kits, you get a lot of personal equipment. So backpacks and... I mean, I don't know. I know with the Germans, you got bread bags and canteens and things like that. I can see that there are options on there. I haven't looked a great deal into what they are, but they'll probably be very similar. So what we'll do now is we'll pop out the final sprue.
There is another weapon on there, and I can't see it.
There is another weapon on there, and he can't see it. We'll be back in a second, and he will no doubt tell us what
there
it
is. It's the light mortar.
Yes.
I knew it was on there somewhere, but I couldn't find it.
So you get a light mortar with it.
So you get so many light mortars.
So many light mortars.
And anti-tank rifles as well.
Well, so that's good though, because I'm stealing a couple of mortars off his.
They'll be off me though, because you're more likely to have German equipment than British.
Yes. So to give context to that, as I said, Vince is doing Italians, but he hasn't used any Warlords at the moment. You've used...
War Games Atlantic.
War Games Atlantic. They do a really, really nice set. How much? Obviously, we got it less than, but how much?
Retail's 25. You get 32 models.
So
including enough to make 2 heavy machine guns.
Yeah.
Which I'm going to be using as a medium machine gun.
Yeah.
And an officer, all sorts of nice, tasty stuff.
I mean, you've already bought the one, but you have said that you potentially would be getting a second one, so I think we will do an unboxing of that, because it's a really good value set, and up until very recently was the only place you could get plastic Italians, I believe.
Yeah, because Warlord's fairly new.
For Warlord's range is fairly new. But yeah, so again, we'll cover that in another video. I don't want us to hijack this beautiful video with filthy running away type Italians and the much Italian-based racism that we're going to bounce at them during the video.
I mean, we need to make sure that we're not going to get in trouble.
Yeah, of course.
Videos.
It's nothing too slanderous, and it's all accurate as well. Pasta-based referencing and such. But yes, let's take a look at the final sprue. I'm going to whip this one out, whoosh, and then Sparks going to whip that one in. No magic of cinema here. That's just my hands and Sparks's. So, and this, of course...
Deutsche Afrika Corps.
The Deutsche Afrika Corps. Again, multiple heads so that you can make them in different ways. The differences in the heads.
Sun helmet, and this is a mix of field caps and style helms.
Perfect.
But a lot of these have like goggles and handkerchief masks and stuff like that as well to keep the scent out.
That they do. And again, it's 6 models on a sprue.
Yep. I believe there's also 6 rifles on here, 2 SMGs, MG34, anti-tank rifle, and there's your light mortar.
Now that anti-tank rifle is gorgeous as well. I mean, I really like Warlord's plastics in general, but I definitely think this is one of my favourite sprues of them, and I've just built an obscene amount of Germans. And the German Grenadiers is a nice kit, as is the Winter German Grenadiers, but this is the nicest of the German kits I've looked at so far. I mean, that mortar is really, really cool. Yeah, it's nice. Nothing more to say, it really is good. So yeah, you also, again, you get personal equipment and stuff like that. Don't have to stick them on the model. Sparks and I tend to, because we're gluttons for punishment when it comes to painting, and we like accuracy. Vince was just like, I wouldn't even give them heads if I didn't have to, because building models sucks.
Not my most favourite part of the hobby.
So you don't like building them, you don't like painting them, and you're not really a fan of playing. I think you just like putting them in and out of foam cases.
Do
That's where he shines.
It really appeals to my organisational requirements.
It does, yes. You're very good at keeping them all organised. Maybe you're playing the wrong faction. The Germans were very good at sorting people.
Yeah, unfortunately, for personal reasons, I couldn't play Germans.
Yeah, this is true.
We've got history.
Which is why the Italians are also the next best one, because he gets to organise them midway through a game as they all run away.
Ah, yes, this is true. So yes, on that note, I will do the bit
I
of...
swear to God, I'm going to get some conchigly and I'm going to jam it into your face.
If he does, I will film it, I promise, guys. But yeah, so I'm going to do the bit of the video that I always hate to do, but you have to do it because you got to... No, I don't! I don't have to do the social media BS yet because Sparks found a sprue! Yes! So, if you were to buy the template and token set, this is the set, this is what you would get. It also comes in most of the main starter sets. Only the 2-player ones. I haven't noticed any of the 1-player ones, but mine are older sets that I've bought. Maybe a newer set might.
My Airborne didn't.
His Airborne didn't. There you have it. So what you get here is your blast template. Now, your blast template is all-encompassing. It covers your 1, 2, and
1 inch, 2 inch, 3 inch, 4 inch, and then it's got a set of 6 numbers around for if you need to scatter it.
It's pretty cool. It's much better than some other systems, whether that be that you have multiple different templates on the table, or the Warlord, in fact, 2000 AD's just roll a dice, and whichever way the picture's facing is the way it scatters. It's not the best system. But yes, and then on top of that, you get these awesome little tokens. Now, it took us ages to figure out what these were, and then by the time we worked it out, we found that there was a little key inside the rulebook that told us what they were. So, yeah, that's
Hidden
on
markers
us.
for scenario purposes.
Yep.
You have
Ghost
turret
Dryer.
jams.
That's new.
Turret jams.
Yep.
Immobilized for vehicles.
Mm-hmm.
These are supposedly for multiple orders from your officer. You've got 2 for indirect fire, for the way indirect fire works, and these 2, I can't remember.
Which ones?
They look like 2 little circles.
They look like targets.
Artillery, barrage, / airstrike.
Oh, yeah, so when you call in an airstrike or an artillery barrage from an officer, you put that down to show where you were aiming for at the time.
There you go, people. You have it. But yes, so you can buy this sprue on its own. You can also buy this sprue with the pin markers, can't you?
I think Warlord only sells them as a pair now.
But some of the third-party sites still have the template on its own.
Yeah.
We know this because I think Zatu we were going to buy it from until we realised that we were going to be buying all the star sets. Oh, did you? Was that where you got yours? And which is why you don't have pin markers, of course.
Storm as well are currently just the templates or just the pin markers, not both.
Yes, so there you go. It is much better value to buy the 2 together because it does work out cheaper. But then the third-party sites give you discounts on top of that, so you have to factor in your postages and stuff. But that's a debate for another day. You guys know that I always suggest shopping locally and supporting your local places, but we don't really have anywhere close to us that sells bolt action in decent numbers or speed paints in more than 4 numbers. But that's...
No, I mean, in his defence, he did have 7 of one of the colours.
Ah, see, so...
The one that comes in the starter, but still...
So not many people are buying that then. But yeah, speed paints. That is a video for another day, I definitely feel. So guys, I tried to put it off as long as possible, but now I'm going to have to do it. You guys know I need to do it. You just don't want me to do it. I don't want to do it. But I have to do it because algorithms. So, if you liked the video, leave a comment below. Tell us if you play bolt action, who you're playing as. Celebrate your army, unless, like me, you're the Germans and then hang your head in shame. And you will majority be the Germans because their range is so much bigger than everyone else's that the majority of people look at it and go, ooh, there's a lot for the Germans. I'm going to be Germans. But yeah, let us know how your games have gone, what you thought of the video.
I can't even say it in defence of them, but they did have a brilliant fashion designer make their uniforms. Go boss.
This is true. This is true. The more you know. But yeah, guys, as always, like, share, subscribe, leave a comment, hit the bell for notifications. We cover a number of different other games, as said, partway through this video and multiple times through this video. We cover a lot of different Warlord games. Very heavy on 2000 AD at the moment. Probably by the time this video finally goes up, ABC Warriors and whatever's coming next will be out. But if not, ABC Warriors is coming soon, and I'm a very big fan of that, as I know is Sparks.
And in a weird, bizarre twist of fate, I have every single model that I own for 2000 AD fully painted.
This is true, which Sparks and I cannot say the same for. But that's mainly because we went with a lot of slain models. But yeah, so guys, as always, pray to the dice gods, hold a smile upon you, be nice to each other. And now there isn't COVID and lockdowns, I don't have to tell you to wash your hands. So go back to just peeing and then touching things. Everybody say goodbye.
Goodbye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody. Toodles.